All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Hajime No Ippo, Season 3, Episode 25.
The finale.
The finale of the series, y'all.
Yep.
Last Go read the manga after this, you know?
That's right.
Yep, and we've had a wild ride.
It has been.
Yeah, and in some ways the series,
Long one, too.
kind of proper for our main cast, has already kind of been over, you know, for a while. It's kind of been, focusing on other characters, and now finally we've got Kamogawa, and even Nekota's, backstory here. And it's really cool because it's the foundation of sorts of probably what will be, essentially the story as to why Ippo even has this wonderful gym to go to, you know?
Where it all came from.
Where it all came from. So, got a fight that we're underway with. Our boy Kamogawa has been holding out for 18 minutes.
Yeah, just getting the shit beaten out of him. He has his steel fist, but he hasn't...
Iron fist, but
Iron
yes,
fist,
yes,
that's right.
yes.
But he hasn't actually been able to land a solid hit with it, just on the block,
on the arm,
which was still insane, you know,
it rattled
the fist
guy,
print and everything. But now Nekota has grabbed his leg and maybe has some advice for him or something.
Or is going to just remind him about, hey, you still got us, man.
But then for a little while longer.
For a little while longer.
Because one of us is probably going to die this episode.
Yeah. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion.
Okay.
That was a finale. That was a finale. They gave us the most brutal punch in the entire anime.
Oh, yeah, by far.
By far.
Holy shit.
This takes the cake with, the Sendo match, or the...
And we got it twice.
Vogue match, or even one of the ones with, Mashiba way back in the early days.
Or even Date against Ricardo. This is just...
This was violent.
Destroying both the puncher and the punchy.
Yeah.
God. Okay.
So, Kamogawa, you made boxing your mistress. You fell in love with it, and you spread your seed out to your students, and now you have basically left us with champions.
Yep.
Who, while one wasn't necessarily one that you sired their fists, you did raise them as a father.
You did your best to teach them manners.
Exactly. And you gave him the opportunity to have those fists go beyond not just his one weight class so that he can, rise up above his
He's
situation.
Going for all six.
He's going the distance. So, just well done.
Yep.
And doing all this with having your fist have been broken in your younger years. Doing all those, training bit, it blows my mind. But Ippo. Ippo was the shy, quiet, good-natured,
who would never,
passive,
ever throw a punch.
Yeah, never, ever throw a punch. And here now, he's on his way to being, a world-class boxer.
Yep.
I think this is the perfect kind of go read the manga ending, because it's
really
basically saying, Ippo is a national legend in the featherweight category of Japan.
Right.
He is incredible. He is not a world level boxer yet. He is, basically there.
But he's starting to go on the way.
But he'll need to basically start over from the ground up and going into the big ocean,
Right, exactly.
And that's where the fist that you raised up within him, Kamogawa, will be put on full display for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. And the fact that the manga has, well over 1,000 chapters, so many. It's just
Of course.
Of course it does.
Of course.
Fantastic. Okay. But this backstory, we get the bittersweet ending.
And yet,
such a good bittersweet ending. And so happy for the bittersweet ending.
I was expecting it to be so much worse.
Yeah, I don't know why you thought she would die in the episode. I thought it would be more we would hear about and she passed away,
Sure.
a year later, 10 years later,
I thought it would be something where we would do the whole thing where they're at her bedside, as she breathes her last and the hand falls and they say goodbye, and then later we see we'll see Kamogawa revisiting the grave or something.
Yeah, I could have seen that with the way they showed Kamogawa cradling the fist of Nekota, and that they would have done the same thing with her hand.
Right, but I like the way that they ended this. They basically they had the conflict for each of the three characters get addressed, both within the both the boxing elements for Nekota and Kamogawa, but then also the relationship side of things, right? With Kamogawa accepting the way that he was approaching the dynamic, and basically also doing his best to try and make it easier for her, even though she had already made her decision, right? And then Nekota with the, hey, I want you to come with me to the mountains, right?
But I want it to be real. I want it to be genuine.
Yeah, I don't want it to be because you pity me because I'm having trouble taking care of myself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I love that, right? Because it's addressing the whole pride situation, right? For both Kamogawa and Nekota, and the way it was resolved was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah,
it was great.
Never have I loved so much to see someone interrupted in an anime.
Yeah,
that was one of the like rudest and most abrupt interruptions I've ever seen in an anime, where a character was about to spill their heart out, and it's like, nope,
and the other person knows it.
They absolutely
this
know
is
it.
An intentional,
because she said, before I leave,
yeah,
I want to say something to you.
The last thing that she was going to say to him, right? Like, this is in the 40s, right? Travel isn't exactly easy, right? You can get on the train or something like that, but that's a big deal, right? And here he knows that she has a couple years left, maybe.
Yeah, she might die before he sees her again. There's that very real possibility. Yeah. Now, it's not necessary to know whether or not that's the case.
Yep.
The point is that as she was about to say basically some kind of thing to basically sever the romantic connection, he basically said, nope, you don't have to spill your heart out here anymore.
Save it for you.
Save it for Nekota.
Right.
Nekota has your heart now.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't want you, or I don't like you, or I don't have any interest in you, or anything like that. I'm basically telling you to, like you said, don't worry about me.
Yeah. It's the, and also it's I feel like it's a this lands in a much more positive way for me because, one, there's been this history, and so we've seen that they know where their own weaknesses and things like that are, but then also because they're adults, the fact that he's choosing to do this feels like less of a thing of immaturity and more of a, it's okay, you don't need to say anything, I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like we know each other well enough that words aren't necessary, right? So I'll simplify it.
Yeah, and I like the simplification being something that's his way of also trying to be strong and protect her, because this is something that's really, really rough here. She did love Kamogawa.
Yes.
And at one point, she only loved Kamogawa. Kamogawa didn't ever really confess his feelings for her.
No.
Even though she knew that he liked her and loved her, really. But he intentionally limited himself in the earlier parts of their story together. Right. So that
I'm all about boxing.
That's
my mistress.
Yeah, that couldn't be the case, that they couldn't actually have a relationship there. And that hurt.
Oh, yeah.
That hurt her a lot.
Yep.
So to keep her from feeling any more hurt with regards to this, he basically throws out his fist, the thing that's broken, the thing where his pain is coming from right now, to basically be like, no, let me bear the pain. This is what I'm good at.
Right.
Let me do that. Okay? And I love it because from a vulnerability standpoint, she has no reason really to be vulnerable to him. He didn't really give her much of anything beyond the point where he kind of supported her at that time where she was really weak.
Right.
So as long as he's willing to keep doing that at these moments there, she doesn't need to hurt herself more by bringing out her feelings here.
In a lot of ways, this is kind of a nice parallel to that, in that she didn't want him to treat her any different as a result of knowing.
Exactly.
He's not going to treat her any different as a result of knowing.
Exactly.
Not about her sickness. It's about the feelings thing, right? Nah, same way.
Same way. Yeah.
So, okay.
So there we go.
And then we get back to the present, and there's the whole idea
of crying.
And they're crying, and of course they are, right? And then the idea that
moved me, man.
That no, it wasn't Takamura's fists.
No.
Because
of course not.
He would have probably taken the world one way or another somehow, whether in the ring or on the streets or or something, right?
That's why Kamogawa put up
Someone
with all
would have
that
found
shit.
him eventually.
Was him just being like, this guy's a legend. I am going to make him...
I'm going to foster him as best I can,
Yeah.
but I did not birth this, right?
Right.
But then with Ippo, it's like, no, this boy would have never thrown a punch if he hadn't come here first, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. This is it. And that's that wonderful just lead into the whole rest of the series. And then, of course, we got to ruin it with Aoki.
I don't need to remember him.
You don't need to remember him. You don't need to remember him.
I mean, that wasn't the last thing of the series, though. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
But, yeah. Kamogawa's got to fulfill his other half of the vow.
That's right.
Train him up to actually be a world-class boxer there.
Also, I love that we didn't actually see whether Anderson survived those punches or not. And the very idea that he was taken out by 2 body blows, I love, because we haven't really seen that before in Ippo, right?
Well, no, we have seen people get hit by body blows, and it very much...
No, yeah. But not finishing the fight because of a body blow. I don't feel like we've seen that. Maybe with Sendo.
I think we have.
But really?
I think we have. Yeah.
Okay, well,
like
pass it along to us the situations where the fights were finished with body blows, but certainly never in that spectacular
Of course,
fashion.
never in this fashion.
And the way the trainer is like, oh no, don't, hold on, no, there's a bunch of broken bones in there. It's just going to cut up his organs and everything. Get a stretcher over here.
Well, no, it had already lacerated his organs.
Right.
That's why he was convulsing.
Right. So don't do anything more, you know, like this is a critical situation.
Yeah.
And then him going over to Kamogawa, who's got his own blood running down his hands.
Carefully taking him by the wrist.
Yes.
Lifting him up. And being like,
yeah,
this guy here.
This is the blood of the samurai. And then as he goes, he keeps the hand with that blood raised high.
Up. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah,
a great show of respect.
There was something legendary about him kind of acknowledging the blood itself, but basically saying that, you know, you weren't damaged by those 2 hits alone.
Right.
Like, the points at which you basically came into this fight, like, you went into this fight with wounded fists.
Right.
Still won. But also, in a very, very reaching kind of analogy here. My boy has 2 friends.
Oh. They are his fists.
And they are his fists in a lot of ways.
I like it.
And
yeah.
he came in trying to do his
broken
best
fists.
to rely on these 2 broken fists.
That's great.
And he put everything into them.
Yeah.
And in the end,
They
he couldn't
hurt
do
him.
it with just one.
Yeah, he couldn't do it with just one.
He needed to use both.
You needed both. And they hurt him using those fists. Yeah, that hurt him.
Yeah. And it also, in some ways, by having this fight, which was for them.
Right.
And also kind of in a way for you to kind of resolve some things with them, maybe internally. You lost your mistress in a way.
Yes,
There was a sacrifice made with this.
Yeah,
here
he gave
where-
up the thing he loves most because
which,
it wasn't really
which
what he loved
had
most.
to have known was happening.
Oh yeah, when he was
no way
when he was pounding that log into the hill,
he knew what was happening.
Yep.
Because he can feel it.
Right.
He had to.
Yeah, that's why he specifically made sure to just go for the gut. You know, because like the jaw. That now that I think about it, that probably would have been a lot worse.
Yeah. Also, this is a nice kind of fun thing. There was that they spent a bit of time in this episode from the trainer's perspective, showcasing how Anderson basically was going to take this fight seriously.
Yeah.
Whereas in the previous fight, he was so surprised by Nekota's speed and ferocity and unique style of boxing that he had to break his code of being a legit boxer and use an illegal punch in order to win.
Right.
He wouldn't have won if he didn't do that.
Yep. He would have been beaten.
He would have been beaten. So in this fight here, he's carrying the shame of that illegal punch.
Right.
Then decides, I will dedicate my entire training time, not all of it, of course, but majority of it as well.
I know my
hyperbole
weakness.
here.
Yeah.
My weakness of my abs to make them rock hard. And it came down to rock hard training and dedicated focus of an athlete versus the iron will of a boxer who will throw everything on the line. Like literally his life.
Yep. Your abs may have been a concrete wall, but Kamogawa was coming in with an iron sledgehammer.
Yeah.
So
make way.
Yeah.
Make way.
I know sledgehammers are usually steel, but point is.
Point is, yeah.
Okay.
It was this mini arc of sorts just takes the cake in a lot of ways for some of the emotional impact we've had in these arcs for Hajime no Ippo, where they kind of go a little bit of extra focus into a character that's not Ippo and kind of unveil them a bit more as a character. This one easily goes into the top 3 of all of those, like, that they've ever done in a series for me. Like, ridiculously fun.
And the visuals, of course, were absolutely wonderful on top
God,
of all
yeah,
that.
the fact that this was the final episode and they're basically like, all right, we're going to put everything into 2 punches.
Yep.
Wait. A fight or punches? Well, no. The fight will be a cut above the rest, just in general. It's going to look amazing. But guys, you know how we do that, like, shaky, just tremble everything thing, like a Lollapalooza of just
the
madness?
whole world is shaking and trembling.
They're like, yeah, that's good, that's stuff. Okay, but we need to have extremely detailed, hyper-intensive art as well, with crazy amounts of lines for these bits here of showing the internal bodies of the boxers who's getting hit and also the one doing the punching.
It feels like one of those like Deadliest Warrior things where they have the dummy and they're like, all right, so what this does to the body, and then show it in
Kamogawa's fist hitting them at this point here. Holy shit! The PSI and the stats are off the charts.
That's a killing blow,
Yeah, that would kill someone. It's like, well, it did back in 1947, 48 or something.
Right. Yeah.
It did.
Oh. Okay, maybe this is going a bit too specific.
Okay.
Given that this is just after World War II, right?
Okay.
And this is like, it's not just Kamogawa versus Anderson. It's Japan versus America, right?
Right.
The fact that this ultimate weapon that should destroy anything in one hit, and Kamogawa used it once, but just to make sure, let's do it twice.
Yeah, that is a very good point. There is a very
of course,
real
Kamogawa only had the 2 hands, right? So it fits very well into it. It doesn't have to be that, but
there is very much this feeling of karma, if you will.
Yes.
In that this guy, when we were first introduced to him, he deserved a lot more than just these 2 punches.
Oh, hell yes.
But over the course of time, we start to see that he's not going to be taken down by any simple punches or even by any just regular boxing
some
match.
overwhelming absolute force.
Absolute. And in some ways, it was interesting because the psychology of the boxing coach, who was trying to basically set him up, Anderson, so that he would have a good fight and beat Kamogawa, was saying that we need to basically use a raw power display and punch him when he goes in low there. Just hit him.
To just crush him.
From above.
Yeah.
Really hard. I mean, so hard that it ends his will.
Drop something on him that will break the spirit.
To break their spirit.
Yeah.
This very much felt like it was this is Japan taking back its pride. Not just its pride, but taking back its spirit.
Yes, and which also, if Kamogawa's fists are his 2 friends, and one of his friends is literally dying as a result of the radiation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That they're poetry.
Yeah. It was very powerful, in the grander sense of things as well.
Yes.
And then the fact that we're here now in the 90s or something like that, or the early 2000s or whatever. I think Ippo is set actually in the early 90s, if I remember correctly.
I believe so. Somewhere around there, yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. Because I think they said it was around 50 years before, later, or whatever.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Then this is just the perfect, like, hey, all these things that he says now as vows, as promises.
Yep.
He's been making good on those vows and promises. So here we are. But Ippo,
the show ends.
He's still got so long to go, and as a story, there's really no limit to how far you could take something of this nature. So it's just a question of where and how and when and okay.
But
y'all. thank you so much for watching through
Yes.
this reaction series for Ippo.
Thank you for getting us to watch this show.
Yeah,
this has been a journey.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic
man.
journey. As far as like sports anime goes, it definitely sets the bar very high.
Yes.
Especially for those ones that have the classic underdog, single protagonist kind of main dynamic there. And then very much going the way of the long running series where you're going to then shift focus to those side characters so that they can get that proper amount of time to shine.
Yeah, that is...
Because sometimes you really just do it for like an episode or so. And it's like, oh, that's nice. But yeah, this was special.
One of the things that blew me away about the journey with the show as a whole is that at the beginning, at the outset, with the idea of doing Hajime no Ippo, I'm like, wait, Hajime no Ippo is how long? Wait, what? Like that's
it doesn't really feel like that long anymore,
it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but it's
No.
but I know it's been like what, 2.5 years basically? Like
or more than that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think there's a particular show that's coming next.
Yes. We just finished the poll for Hajime no Ippo's replacement. There were a bunch of shows on this poll. They all did pretty well.
Yeah.
But there was one that took the first place spot, and that is Bungo Stray Dogs. Bungo Stray Dogs, a show that we've been wanting to watch for a while. Not a long show, but definitely not a short show. One that both Jacob and I basically know nothing about, and the name doesn't necessarily feel like it gives any idea as to what it's going to be about in general.
I think I know one of the themes of the show or motifs or whatever, but that's about it.
Yeah. But okay, so that'll be starting next week. So if you want to see the first episode's reaction to Bungo Stray Dogs right now, go check out the link in the description below. For our Patreon, you can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. So you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.